I stared at Sean's phone, my hand trembling as I read the message again. Can't wait to see you tonight, babe. Same place. The words blurred as tears welled up in my eyes. Sean, I called out, my voice barely above a whisper. The shower was still running. I cleared my throat and tried again, louder this time. Sean. The water shut off abruptly. Yeah, Mia? What's up? I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. Sean, this can't be true. Who is she? There was a long pause. I could hear him fumbling around in the bathroom. When he finally emerged, a towel wrapped around his waist, his face was a mask of confusion. What are you talking about? I held up his phone, my hand shaking. This message. Who's it from? Sean's eyes widened for a split second before he composed himself. Oh, that? It's just a work thing. You know how Cade and I have been working late on that project. A work thing? I repeated, my voice rising. You call her babe for work? He reached for the phone, but I pulled it away. Mia, come onorevole. You're overreacting. I'm not feeling great, and I don't want to argue about this right now. I felt a wave of dizziness wash over me. The fever I'd been fighting all day seemed to spike. Not feeling great? That's rich, Sean. I've been sick all day, and you didn't even notice. Sean's face softened, but there was something off about it. I'm sorry, honey. I've just been so busy with work. Why don't you lie down, and I'll make you some soup? I shook my head, clutching the phone tighter. No, I want answers. Who is she, Sean? What's going on? He sighed, running a hand through his damp hair. Mia, please. Can we talk about this later? I promise it's nothing. But I could see it in his eyes. The guilt, the panic. It was all there, barely concealed beneath his calm exterior. In that moment, I knew. My world was about to come crashing down around me. My hands shook as I dialed Emma's number. The phone rang 3 times before her familiar voice answered. Mia? What's wrong? I need you. I choked out, tears streaming down my face. Can you come over? I'm on my way, she said without hesitation. Hang in there, sis. I curled up on the couch, Sean's phone clutched to my chest. My head pounded, and chills racked my body. I don't know how long I lay there before I heard Emma's key in the lock. Mia, she called, rushing to my side. Oh, honey, you're burning up. I looked up at her, my vision blurry. He's cheating on me. Sean's cheating. Emma's face hardened. What? How do you know? I handed her the phone, and she scrolled through the messages, her jaw clenching. That bastard, she muttered. Just then we heard the front door open. Sean walked in, stopping short when he saw Emma. What's going on? He asked, his eyes darting between us. Emma stood up, her voice ice cold. Why don't you tell us, Sean? Who's Kate? Sean's face paled. It's not what you think. Mia, I can explain. Save it, Emma snapped. My sister is sick, and you're out gallivanting with some floozy. You should be ashamed. Sean's expression hardened. This is none of your business, Emma. Mia and I can handle our own problems. I struggled to sit up, my head spinning. Handle our problems? You've been lying to me, Sean. For how long? He ran a hand through his hair, frustration evident. Mia, please. You're not well. We shouldn't discuss this now. Emma put a protective arm around me. Oh, we're discussing it. In fact, I think Mia should come stay with me for a while. What? No, Sean protested. Mia, you don't need to leave. Let's talk about this. I looked at him, really looked at him, and saw a stranger. The man I thought I knew, the man I had built a life with, was gone. In his place stood someone I didn't recognize. I think Emma's right, I said quietly. I need some time away. Sean's face fell. Mia, don't do this. It was a mistake. I love you. But as Emma helped me to my feet, I knew there was no going back. The trust was broken, and with it, the foundation of our marriage. As we walked out the door, I heard Sean call after us, but I didn't turn back. My world had shattered, but with Emma by my side, I knew I'd find the strength to pick up the pieces. Are you sure about this, Mia? Emma whispered as we crouched behind her car, watching Sean's office building. I nodded, my heart pounding. I need to know. I need to see it with my own eyes. We'd been staking out Sean's workplace for an hour when he finally emerged, but he wasn't alone. A tall, blonde woman walked beside him, laughing at something he said. My stomach churned as I watched Sean place his hand on the small of her back, guiding her to his car. That's her, I breathed. That's Kate. Emma squeezed my hand. Let's follow them. We tailed Sean's car to a cozy Italian restaurant across town. Through the window, we could see them seated at a candlelit table, their heads close together, fingers intertwined. I think I'm going to be sick, I muttered, turning away from the scene. Emma's face was a mix of fury and concern. We've seen enough. Let's go home. As we drove back, my phone rang. Sophia's name flashed on the screen. I hesitated before answering. Mia, where are you? Sophia's shrill voice demanded. Sean's been trying to reach you all evening. I bit back a bitter laugh. I'm sure he has. What's that supposed to mean? You need to take better care of my son. He works hard to provide for you, and this is how you repay him. Emma, overhearing, mouthed, put her on speaker. I did, and Emma chimed in. Sophia, with all due respect, you have no idea what's going on. Your precious son isn't the saint you think he is. Emma? What are you doing there? This is between Mia and Sean, Sophia snapped. It became my business when your son decided to cheat on my sister, Emma retorted. There was a moment of stunned silence before Sophia exploded. How dare you? Sean would never. I cut her off. We just saw him, Sophia, with his girlfriend, at a romantic dinner. You're lying, Sophia hissed. Sean loves you. If there are problems in your marriage, it's because you're not trying hard enough. Her words hit me like a slap. Tears stung my eyes as I ended the call. Emma pulled into her driveway and turned to me. Don't let her get to you, Mia. We know the truth now. I nodded, a new resolve hardening within me. You're right. And now it's time to decide what to do about it. As we walked into Emma's house, I felt a strange mix of heartbreak and determination. My marriage was in shambles, but for the first time in years, I felt truly awake. Whatever came next, I knew I wouldn't face it alone. I sat at Emma's kitchen table, staring at Sean's laptop. Liam, Emma's tech-savvy son, had just finished explaining how he'd retrieved deleted messages and emails. Are you sure you want to see this, Aunt Mia? Liam asked, his young face etched with concern. I nodded, steeling myself. I need to know everything, Liam. As I scrolled through the recovered data, my world crumbled further. Intimate photos, passionate messages, and plans for secret rendezvous filled the screen. The affair had been going on for months, maybe even a year. Emma squeezed my shoulder. Oh, Mia, I'm so sorry. I closed the laptop, feeling numb. I have to confront him. Tonight. When I arrived home, Sean was waiting, his face a mask of concern. Mia, where have you been? I've been worried sick. Save it, Sean, I snapped. I know about Kate. I know everything. His face paled. Mia, I can explain. Explain what? The photos? The messages? How long you've been lying to me? Sean's demeanor changed, his eyes hardening. You went through my private things? How dare you? I laughed bitterly. How dare I? You've been cheating on me for months, and you're upset about privacy. It's not what you think, he insisted. Kate and I, it's just physical. It doesn't mean anything. His words hit me like a slap. It means everything, Sean. Our marriage, our trust, it's all gone. Just then, my phone rang. It was Sophia. I answered, putting it on speaker. Mia, what have you done? Sophia's shrill voice filled the room. Sean tells me you're making wild accusations. How could you do this to him? I felt a surge of anger. Ask your son what he's done, Sophia. Ask him about Kate. Sean's face contorted with rage. He grabbed the phone from my hand. Mom, don't listen to her. Mia's hysterical. She's making things up. I watched in disbelief as Sean smoothly lied to his mother, painting me as the villain. When he hung up, he turned to me, his eyes cold. You've really done it now, Mia. No one's going to believe you over me. Not my mother, not our friends. You should have just kept quiet. In that moment, I saw Sean for who he truly was, a manipulative liar who would stop at nothing to protect himself. I felt a strange calm settle over me as I made my decision. I want to divorce Sean, I said quietly, and I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly why. His smug expression faltered. You wouldn't dare. I met his gaze steadily. Watch me. As I walked out of the house, I felt a mixture of fear and determination. The road ahead would be tough, but for the first time in years, I felt truly free. I stared at the bank statement in disbelief, my hands shaking. Our joint savings account, the one we'd been building for years, was nearly empty. My eyes darted from one transaction to another, each one a knife twisting in my gut. Expensive dinners, hotel rooms, jewelry. I muttered, ball rising in my throat. Emma leaned over my shoulder, her face darkening as she read. That bastard. He's been funding his affair with your money, Mia. I felt numb. The betrayal of trust was one thing, but this was a whole new level of deceit. What am I going to do, Em? I whispered, tears threatening to spill. He's taken everything. Emma's jaw set in determination. We're going to fight back. It's time to expose Sean for who he really is. Just then, my phone buzzed. A text from Sean. Dinner at Mom's tonight. Don't be late. I looked at Emma, an idea forming. What if we use this dinner to our advantage? Emma's eyes lit up. You mean? Yes, I nodded, feeling a surge of resolve. It's time to lay all the cards on the table. In front of everyone. We spent the next few hours planning, gathering evidence, and steeling ourselves for the confrontation ahead. As evening approached, I felt a mix of dread and anticipation. Are you sure about this? Emma asked as she dropped me off at Sophia's house. I took a deep breath. It's now or never. Inside, Sean and Sophia were already seated at the dining table. Sean's face was a mask of false concern. Mia, dear, we were worried about you, Sophia cooed, her eyes sharp. I plastered on a smile. Sorry I'm late. I had some financial matters to attend to. Sean's fork paused halfway to his mouth. Financial matters? I nodded, pulling out the bank statements. Yes, Sean. Care to explain these? The color drained from his face as I laid out the evidence of his spending. Sophia gasped, her eyes darting between us. What's going on? She demanded. I took a deep breath, steeling myself. Your son has been having an affair, Sophia. And he's been using our life savings to fund it. The room erupted into chaos. Sean sputtered denials, Sophia wailed in disbelief, and I stood my ground, presenting email after email, photo after photo. As the truth sank in, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I turned to Sean, my voice steady. I want a divorce, and I want every penny you stole from us back. Sean's face contorted with rage. You'll get nothing. No one will believe you over me. But as I looked at Sophia's shocked face, I knew the tide had turned. The truth was out, and there was no going back. I walked out of Sophia's house that night, my head held high. The road ahead would be tough, but for the first time in months, I felt hope. It was time to reclaim my life, and I was ready for the fight. My hands trembled as I set the table for our family dinner. The weight of what I was about to do pressed down on me like a physical force. Emma's words echoed in my mind. You've got this, Mia. It's time for the truth. The doorbell rang, and I took a deep breath before answering. Sophia swept in, her critical eyes taking in every detail of the house. Sean followed, his face a mask of false concern. Mia, dear, you look tired, Sophia remarked, her voice dripping with faux sympathy. I forced a smile. I'm fine, Sophia. Please have a seat. As we settled around the table, the tension was palpable. Sean kept shooting me nervous glances, while Sophia prattled on about neighborhood gossip. I waited for the right moment, my heart pounding. Finally, as we finished the main course, I stood up. I have something I need to share with both of you. Sean's fork clattered to his plate. Mia, what are you doing? I ignored him, retrieving the folder I'd prepared. I've discovered some things that you both need to see. Sophia looked bewildered. What's going on? With shaking hands, I spread out the bank statements, emails, and photos across the table. Sean has been having an affair with his colleague, Kate, and he's been using our life savings to fund it. The room exploded into chaos. Sophia gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Sean leapt to his feet, his face contorted with rage. "You lying bitch," he snarled. "How dare you make up these ridiculous accusations?" But as Sophia's eyes scanned the evidence, her expression changed from disbelief to horror. "Sean, tell me this isn't true." Sean's demeanor shifted, his anger giving way to desperate pleading. "Mom, you can't believe this. Mia's clearly lost her mind. She's making all this up." I stood my ground, my voice steady despite my racing heart. "It's all true, Sophia. Every word. Your son has betrayed not just me, but our entire marriage." Sophia turned to Sean, her voice barely a whisper. "Is this why you've been asking me for money?" The color drained from Sean's face. In that moment, I knew we had him cornered. But Sean, ever the manipulator, made one last desperate attempt. He lunged across the table, grabbing the evidence. "None of this is real. I'll prove it." As Sean and I grappled for the documents, Sophia's shrill voice cut through the chaos. "Enough!" We froze, turning to face her. Sophia's eyes were filled with tears, but her voice was steel. "Sean, I've defended you your entire life. But this is indefensible." In that moment, I saw Sean's world crumble. His last ally had turned against him. As Sophia comforted me and berated her son, I felt a strange mix of vindication and sadness. The truth was out, but at what cost? The dinner ended in shambles, with Sean storming out and Sophia leaving in tears. As I closed the door behind them, I leaned against it, exhausted but resolute. The hardest part was over, but I knew the real battle for my future was just beginning. The days following the disastrous family dinner were a blur of frantic activity. I threw myself into packing, desperate to leave the house that no longer felt like home. Emma was my rock, helping me sort through years of memories and shared possessions. "You're doing the right thing, Mia," she reassured me as we boxed up my clothes. I nodded, fighting back tears. "I know, but it doesn't make it any easier." Just then, my phone buzzed. It was Sophia. My heart raced as I answered. "Mia, I owe you an apology." Sophia's voice was uncharacteristically subdued. "I should have seen what Sean was doing. I'm so sorry."
Her words, once longed for, now felt hollow. "Thank you, Sophia, but it's too late for apologies." As I hung up, Emma squeezed my hand. "You're stronger than all of them, sis." The next morning, as I was loading the last of my boxes into Emma's car, Sean's sleek BMW pulled into the driveway. He stepped out, looking haggard and desperate. "Mia, please, we need to talk," he pleaded. I steeled myself. "There's nothing left to say, Sean. I've ended things with Kate. I'll do anything to fix this. Please, just give me another chance." His voice cracked with emotion. For a moment, I felt my resolve waver. The Sean I had loved for so many years stood before me, vulnerable and seemingly sincere. But then I remembered the lies, the betrayal, the financial ruin he'd brought upon us. "No, Sean, it's over," I said firmly. His face contorted with anger. "You can't just throw away our marriage. What about everything we've built together?" "You threw it away when you chose her over me," I retorted, my voice rising. "When you stole our savings to fund your affair." Sean's eyes darted to the neighbors' houses, aware of the scene we were causing. "Keep your voice down. You're going to ruin my reputation." I laughed bitterly. "Your reputation? That's all you care about, isn't it?" In that moment, I saw Sean for who he truly was. A selfish, manipulative man who would never change. I felt a surge of strength course through me. "Goodbye, Sean," I said, turning away from him. As Emma and I drove away, I watched our house, the life I had known, disappear in the rearview mirror. Tears streamed down my face, but for the first time in months, they weren't tears of sadness or anger. They were tears of relief, of freedom. Emma glanced at me, concern etched on her face. "Are you okay?" I took a deep breath, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. "No," I admitted, "but I will be." As we drove towards my new apartment, towards my new life, I felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. The road ahead was uncertain, but for the first time in years, it was mine to choose. The hardest part was over, but the real journey, the journey to rediscover myself, was just beginning. I stood in the middle of my new apartment, surrounded by boxes and the remnants of my old life. The silence was deafening, a stark contrast to the chaos of the past few months. As I unpacked, each item seemed to carry the weight of memories, both good and bad. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Sean. "Mia, please. Can we talk one last time?" I stared at the message, my finger hovering over the reply button. Part of me wanted to give in, to hear him out. But then I remembered Emma's words. "You're stronger than you know, Mia." With a deep breath, I deleted the message and blocked Sean's number. It felt like cutting the final thread tying me to my past. As I continued unpacking, I came across a photo of Sean and me on our wedding day. We looked so happy, so full of hope. Tears welled up in my eyes as I realized how much had changed. But instead of the crushing sadness I expected, I felt a strange sense of peace. The doorbell rang, startling me from my reverie. I opened it to find Emma, Derek, and Liam, arms full of groceries and home decor. "Surprise!" Emma grinned. "We thought you could use some help settling in." As we worked together, transforming the empty space into a home, I felt a warmth spreading through me. This was family. Not the one I had married into, but the one that had stood by me through everything. Later that evening, as we sat around my new dining table enjoying takeout, Derek raised his glass. "To new beginnings," he toasted. "And to family," I added, my voice thick with emotion. As the night wore on, filled with laughter and plans for the future, I realized something profound. The journey hadn't just been about leaving Sean or exposing his betrayal. It had been about rediscovering myself, my strength, my worth, my ability to stand on my own. After everyone left, I stood on my small balcony, looking out at the city lights. For the first time in years, I felt truly free. The road ahead was uncertain, but I was no longer afraid. I had survived the worst and come out stronger. I thought about all the women out there facing similar struggles, feeling trapped, betrayed, unsure of their worth. I wished I could tell them what I now knew, that it's never too late to reclaim your life, to demand respect and love, to start anew. As I got ready for bed in my new home, I caught sight of myself in the mirror. The woman looking back at me was different from the one who had first discovered Sean's betrayal. She was stronger, wiser, and unafraid to face the world on her own terms. I smiled at my reflection, feeling a surge of excitement for what the future held. This wasn't just an ending. It was a new beginning. And I was ready for it, all of it.